There's a very specific kind of horror game that doesn't rely on jump scares, it relies on feeling wrong. The kind where nothing is explained, nobody talks, and yet your brain keeps trying to understand what you're looking at. That's exactly where REANIMAL lives. Made by Teshis Studios, the same minds behind Little Nightmares, this isn't just a spiritual successor. It's what happens when that formula grows up, loses its fairy tale safety net, and decides to actively hate you. And I do mean that in the best way possible. You play as a brother and sister returning to a place they once called home, searching for their missing friends. That's basically all the game tells you. No exposition dumps, no emotional monologues, no clear villain speeches, just a world that looks like it remembers being normal, but forgot how to. The island feels like it went through a war, plague, and nightmare all at the same time. Animals are wrong, people are worse, and everything seems to exist purely to make sure children don't survive here. The story unfolds almost entirely through environment and symbolism. And whether you love that or hate that depends on how patient you are with ambiguity. Because REANIMAL never wants to be understood quickly. It wants to linger in your head and after you stop playing and make you think about it days after. This is easily one of the strongest audiovisual horror experiences in years. The fixed cinematic camera constantly frames scenes like disturbing paintings. You don't control what you see, you know. The game shows exactly what it once burned in your memory. And what it shows you is, well, unpleasant. Mutated livestock, skin that isn't attached to bodies anymore, structures that shouldn't exist together, farms turning into factories, turning into oceans. The environments follow dream logic rather than geography. And that makes exploration incredibly tense because you never know what rules still apply in the level you are or the area you are in. Sound design deserves a special mention though. There's barely any music. Instead you get distant machinery, wet footsteps, breathing in the fog, and sudden violence that breaks the silence like a gunshot. And that makes it tense. You don't relax in REANIMAL, you only get short breaks between discomfort. Mechanically, this is still a cinematic horror platformer. You sneak, solve puzzles, climb, run, and occasionally panic, but this time Teshis gives you more agency. You're not just moving left to right anymore. At certain points you unlock a boat and can explore different locations off the main path. It's not open world, but it creates the illusion of a real place rather than a guided corridor. The puzzles are designed around cooperation, because the entire game can be played solo with online co-op or local co-op, or if you play solo you of course get an AI partner because you need one. And honestly it does shine brightest with another player. Not because it becomes easier, but because shared fear is powerful, you know, and you can scream together and hate each other afterwards, but that doesn't matter, you know, that's just how games work. And you start communicating instinctively, like, wait, run, don't go there, or what the fuck are you doing, idiot? You know, those things just belong in a game like this. The game just quietly turns you into a survival team. So I do recommend playing it co-op with a friend. I wouldn't like it that much if I had to play it solo. Gonna be honest about that part. Unlike earlier Teshis games, you're not completely helpless anymore. Eventually you gain basic ways to defend yourself. Not enough to fight monsters head on, but enough to push back against smaller threats. And that tiny change does something big psychologically. You're no longer just a victim, you're a fragile survivor. It makes every encounter more dynamic, even if the mechanics themselves stay pretty simple. REANIMAL is not flawless, and its problems are familiar if you played the studio's previous work. Some chase sequences demand exact solutions, not smart solutions, but exact ones. So instead of fierce, you sometimes get trial and error deaths until you memorize the developer's intended path. The camera, while beautiful, occasionally works against gameplay clarity, and movement can feel slightly stiff. Intentional but still frustrating during precise moments. The biggest debate though will be the story. Some players will love interpreting symbolism, others will feel like the game raises questions it never answers. REANIMAL cares more about emotional impact and narrative clarity. Whether that's genius or pretentious depends entirely on you. A single playthrough runs roughly 4 to 6 hours. That's short but also dense. This isn't a long-term systems game. It's a concentrated experience, more like a horror film you participate in. You won't remember everything you did in REANIMAL, you'll remember the things you saw. REANIMAL doesn't try to be fun in the traditional sense. It tries to be memorable, and it succeeds. It's disturbing without being edgy, mysterious without being too random, and cooperative without losing isolation. Yes, it still carries some old frustrations from Teshis' design philosophy, but yeah, I don't know, it won't satisfy players wanting clear answers or mechanical depth, but as an atmospheric horror experience, it will stick with you. You don't finish REANIMAL and move on, you finish it and then think about it the next day. And for a horror game, I guess that's kind of the whole point, right? So that's actually all I have to say about this game. If you played it, let me know what you thought about it. I think it's worth it. It's kind of expensive for the amount of hours you put in, so for a short playthrough, it's kind of a lot of money. Because I paid like 40 or 50 bucks, I guess. I don't know. I don't really remember. It was something in that regard. I haven't researched it. Maybe I should. Maybe I should. Maybe I should research how much it costs before posting a review video. No, I remember it's kind of expensive for how short it is. So you play through it in an evening. But yeah, it's a cool experience. I thought it was worth it. But you know, after watching this review, if you kind of agree and understand the things I say, then you gotta like for yourself, you know, you gotta put it next to the price and be like, is that experience worth that amount of money? I can't judge for you. But yeah, I do think it's kind of expensive for the short run. But it is an amazing game. So for me, it's a buy it, apart from how much it costs. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please press like and maybe subscribe to the channel. You would help me out a lot. And I want to thank you all for watching. See you guys next time.